Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 37 of the World of Sports podcast. I am your host, Diego Sandoval, joined as always by my co host, Logan Ring. Logan, say what's up to the people.
What's up, everyone?
Today, we've got a fun little episode. To start it off, I'm going to be running through my top 10 picks for the NFL draft that is taking place next week. We are recording this on Friday, April 23rd. So NFL draft is next week. Exciting stuff. I'm going to run through who I think each team should select with their top 10 selection. And then we're going to go into our takes on Steph Curry's career and where he kind of stands among the all-time greats in the NBA. We found it was kind of fitting just given the kind of streak that he's been on. I know the 30-game streak ended last night or 2 nights ago, I believe, but I mean, 11 straight 30-point games. That's pretty special, and it's got people talking. So we're gonna talk about that, and then we're gonna end off with just our take on the Dodgers Padres rivalry. They had their first series matchup last weekend, and they're playing again this weekend. And so far, they've given us probably the 3 or 4 best games of the year. So
It's like playoff games already.
right, and it's great for the game of baseball, and we're gonna go into that a bit later. But before we jump in, if you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, do all that. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, give us a follow, give us a like, give us a rating, and then go follow us on our Instagram at TWOS Podcast and our TikTok. I know we haven't posted there in a while, but gonna get back on that. Just gotta get back into the groove of things, But yeah, so TikTok at the World of Sports Podcast and Instagram at TWOS Podcast. So let's jump right into it. Now, a disclaimer, if you've listened to this podcast before, you know I do most of the NFL talk. So you're probably just going to be hearing my voice for the next, I don't know, I'll try to keep it short, 15, 10 minutes. But anyways, NFL draft. This NFL draft is very offense heavy. We've seen a lot of drafts in the past where guys there's 3 or 4 defensive selections in the top 10. It's not going to happen this year. There's so much quarterback talent and wide receiver talent that I think we're going to see a very heavy offensive draft. So, that's just about the draft in general. I think it's good. I think there's a lot of very good players that could have very good NFL careers. Um, so let's jump right into it. I think everybody knows, even people who maybe don't follow football as much, everybody knows Trevor Lawrence is the number 1 pick. And it's not even a question. Trevor Lawrence, if you don't know, quarterback out of Clemson, far and away the best player in the draft. He knows how to win. I think he's lost two games in his entire high school and college career, which is 7 years. So yeah. And I mean, he's got everything you'd want in an NFL quarterback. He's big. He's got arm talent. He can get out of the pocket if need be. But
He's got beautiful hair too.
that's true. Sunshine. He's got the golden locks. Um, but yeah, I think it's unanimous. The Jaguars are going to take Trevor Lawrence with the number 1 pick. So don't really need to elaborate on that too much. Now the Jets at 2, they've kind of, I think they're going quarterback. Obviously, they traded away Sam Darnold, so that's their main issue this offseason. And it's kind of also become a consensus pick that they're going to go Zach Wilson out of BYU, another quarterback, just phenomenal arm. He'll throw the ball 80 yards and throw it on a line. And then he's got some running skills. So a guy that could go dual threat. Obviously, his main thing is his arm, and I think he's a great fit for the Jets as they kind of rebuild off of the past few seasons that have definitely not been good at all. So quarterback to start off for me, and then another quarterback. I think the Niners take a QB. They have Jimmy G. I don't think he's the guy there for them to win. There's been talks of them going Mac Jones with this pick. I don't know. Mac Jones is fine. He's kind of your stereotypical quarterback. Basically, sits in the pocket and does his thing. But I got Justin Fields going here, quarterback at Ohio State. There's a lot of people who do not believe in Justin Fields, and I am a believer. the main hit against him is that he's a quote unquote college quarterback. So he's kind of built for the college game with his play style. He runs a lot. But I mean, he showed in his pro days that, I mean, he can throw the ball like anybody else in this draft. And he showed that he can compete at the highest levels. He made the national championship game last year, and Ohio State's always competed while he's on the field. And I think a dual threat quarterback is a great fit for Kyle Shanahan's offense. That's what he likes to run. He likes fast-paced offenses with guys that can run, and Jimmy G is really just not doing that for the Niners right now. So I've got Justin Fields going 3. Other guys that could go to the Niners if they're not as invested in Fields are Trey Lance and Mac Jones. But I think Justin Fields is the third best quarterback in this draft. Moving on to the 4th pick, it's the Atlanta Falcons. They could go quarterback here just because Matt Ryan is getting very old, and I think he's got maybe 3 seasons left. Maybe he could be done after this year. We'll see. But I think they go, in my opinion, the best offensive weapon in the draft, and that's Kyle Pitts out of Florida. He's a tight end, and the man is an absolute monster. People are kind of skeptical when tight ends get picked early because it's like, oh, why don't you just pick a wide receiver? Kyle Pitts is a wide receiver lined up at tight end. He's as fast as most of the receivers in this draft and is bigger than all of them. So I think Kyle Pitts is the best offensive weapon, obviously, besides quarterbacks in this draft. And I think the Falcons, although they could go a guy like Fields if he drops, I think the Falcons take Kyle Pitts. Now, the Bengals sit at the 5th pick. I think this is a no-brainer for the Bengals. However, people like to talk about them going Jamar Chase out of LSU to pair up college teammates Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, get him some weapons. But if we're being completely honest, I think we all saw last year Joe Burrow just suffer in Cincinnati. I mean, obviously he had the hit that tore his ACL, but all season he was getting absolutely rocked. And I think the best pick for the Bengals is Penei Sewell out of Oregon, offensive tackle. Offensive tackle is arguably one of the most important positions in football. You're protecting the blind side of your quarterback, and a young quarterback needs protection. Joe Burrow did not have that last year, and we saw with the injury. But yeah, I think taking a wide receiver here would be stupid when far and away the best offensive lineman is still on the board. Now, moving on to 6, I have my first wide receiver going off the board of this very talented wide receiver draft. I have the Dolphins taking Jamar Chase out of LSU. I think he's the best wide receiver in this draft. The only thing that would be interesting to see is if they kind of maybe think about going Devontae Smith, because Devontae and Tua were teammates at Alabama. But I think Jamar Chase is the best wide receiver in this draft. He didn't play last year. He sat out, but he showed his freshman season that he is an absolute monster. He ran like a 4.2, 4.3 40 or something. And he's got the route running. He's got the hands. I think Jamar Chase is the pick for the Dolphins. At the 7 spot are the Detroit Lions. I've got them taking another wide receiver, Devontae Smith. Won the Heisman last year. Absolutely manhandled Ohio State in the national championship game. I think he had 3 touchdowns, 200 yards in the first half, and didn't play the rest of the game. Just crazy talent. And the Lions really need a wide receiver after they lost both Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones to free agency. Golladay going to the Giants and Jones to the Jaguars. But I think no matter what, the Lions take a wide receiver, and I think Devontae Smith is the right call. Jalen Waddle is the other receiver out of Alabama who could go. But I like Devontae Smith a bit more. So Jamar Chase and Devontae Smith back-to-back for me. Now on the 8th pick, the Carolina Panthers, there was talk about them getting a quarterback, but then they went out and traded for Sam Darnold. So whether it be Darnold or Bridgewater next year, I think they have the quarterback position down. It'll probably be a competition, but I don't think bringing in a rookie would help that a lot. I think the Panthers go offensive line. Rashawn Slater, offensive tackle out of Northwestern, huge dude and just a beast. Again, like I said, offensive tackles are so important in the NFL. And the Panthers have good great skill position guys. Obviously, like I said, the quarterback position is going to be decided probably in training camp. But I mean, you got the best running back in the league, in my opinion, coming back in Christian McCaffrey. Robbie Anderson had a breakout year last year. DJ Moore is one of the most underrated receivers in the game. Um, I think they've got the weapons. They don't need to go offense like skill positions, but I think Rashawn Slater shoring up that offensive line would be a perfect fit for the Panthers. Now at number 9, I've got the Broncos taking another quarterback, Trey Lance, out of North Dakota State. Trey Lance has been rumored to go in the top 3, so I think he goes top 10, whether that be to the Broncos or to another team. I think Trey Lance is another great talent, and for the Broncos, I think Drew Lock is a failed experiment. He wasn't necessarily an experiment, but I think he's had his chance to prove himself, and he really hasn't done much with it. I think they need to move on from him. But I really like Trey Lance. I think Trey Lance is a great talent. Like I said, there's talk of him going top 3, top 5. But I have him falling to the Broncos at 9. And to cap off my top 10, I've got the Cowboys taking the best defensive back in the draft, and that is Patrick Surtain. Like I said, very offense-heavy draft. The first defensive player going number 10, cornerback Surtain out of Alabama. Like I said, best defensive back in the draft, in my opinion, and in most people's opinion. And the Cowboys really had trouble with the pass last year. So I think that's a perfect fit. If he falls to them at 10, I think the Cowboys will be very happy with it. Those are my top 10. Lawrence, Wilson, Fields, Pitts, Sewell, Chase, Smith, Slater, Lance, and Surtain. The one thing I wanted to highlight really quick is that don't sleep on sneaky Bill Belichick, and because he might trade up. I know they really like Mac Jones. They could jump into the top 10. I would see them probably, I'd say the Panthers would probably move back. The Broncos might, and the Cowboys might. So that's the one team I think to be on the lookout for in the draft is the Patriots, because, they re-signed Cam Newton to a 1-year deal, but that didn't work out last year. So I think if they go out, draft a guy like Mac Jones, who I know Bill Belichick likes, he's your very stereotypical, I don't want to say it, but white quarterback that Bill Belichick loves. He's Tom Brady all over again. He's got another experiment to do. But yeah, that's what I got for my top 10. Gonna post something on Instagram about it and maybe on TikTok. So go comment there. What you guys think. Comment on this video what you guys think of my top 10. And yeah, looking forward to the NFL draft that will take place next week. Starts on Thursday, ends on Saturday, I believe. But yeah, that's all we got for the NFL draft. I can welcome back in Logan. Logan, welcome back.
Thank you.
So now we're gonna move on to Wardell Stephen Curry. There you go. And just what brought about this discussion is his, like I said, 11 straight 30-point games in his age 33 season. I'm gonna let you talk. I'm gonna let you talk first because I just talked for a while. But basically, let's just start with this season, Steph Curry. What have you seen?
I mean, Steph has been ridiculous this season. It's kind of his by himself season that you see from a lot of players. It's like LeBron in 2018 or Russ in 2017, where I mean, I know last year KD wasn't there, but he was hurt. So this is like Steph's time to be like, all right, I'm doing this all by myself now. And he's been amazing. The past 11 games, I think he's shooting 50% from the field, 50% from 3, and making 7 threes a game, averaging 40 points. It's one of the craziest streaks I've ever seen. And the efficiency that he's doing it too is crazy. I think he has the highest true shooting percentage for 10 games in a row, averaging 30 points. I know that's a stupid stat, but still,
what is that? What is true
shooting? Yeah. It's it counts field goal percentage. It's basically every shot you take, so it counts field goals and free throws. So, I mean, obviously he's great at free throws. So
yeah,
he's just been ridiculous, and it's been really fun to watch. I'm not a Warriors fan because I've been a Cavs fan in that whole rivalry, but like it's nothing against Steph, and like what he's doing now is like it's absolutely ridiculous. I've never seen anything like it. Greatest shooter of all time. Like,
Yeah, that's
I
not a
mean,
discussion anymore. I don't.
not even
It
close.
was a couple of years ago, but it's not anymore.
It's he's absolutely ridiculous. Nobody in the league can become even close to him right now. I'm sure in the future he's going to inspire a bunch of people to try, but he's insane.
Right.
Um,
And I mean, this season, he's firmly in that MVP race. That MVP race that has, probably around five guys who could legitimately win it.
yeah,
So
let's talk about the MVP race because I want to hear your take on the whole like Steph's chance of getting it.
so okay. Right now, I think it's Jokic simply because he's been healthy all season and he's consistently put up. I he's not averaging a triple double, I don't think, but he's very close to it. I think he's got the points obviously, and I think the rebounds, and I think he's like 8 or 9 assists. I don't know what it
Yeah,
is.
crazy.
Um, but I think Steph is honestly either second or third. Joel is always obviously also there, and then you can throw in Dame, Luca, LeBron is out of that.
Giannis.
Giannis, LeBron is out of that conversation. Unfortunately, he's missed just way too many games. But I think Steph Curry right now they're the 10 seed, right? Yeah, they're the 10 seed with
Yeah,
what their 1 game difference from the 8 seed. I think that if Steph Curry continues this run, I know he had a down game last game. And right now he's averaging 31 points a game, leading the league, 5.9, so 6 assists and 5.5 rebounds a game. And like you said, that team is on his back. I think I think you got to shoot for seven seed maybe. I don't know if that's possible, but with the way Jokic has been playing and the way the Nuggets are playing well, I don't know. It's so close. It's such a
yeah.
good MVP race this year.
We're gonna talk about MVP
Yeah.
race later on, but I, it's just hard because I don't know what the solution to this is. But like, record has always played a part in the
Right.
MVP discussion. Russ won it in 2017. I think his team won like 46, 48 games,
Yeah.
which he was the fifth seed, I think, which isn't like super high, but like the 10th seed is a lot farther back than the fifth seed.
Right. And also I think Russ's season is one of the best MVP seasons
Yeah,
ever.
that was, and the storyline was there from the
Right.
beginning. Everything about that season was crazy.
And I mean
Um,
this year for Steph has the storyline too, so there's that aspect to it.
yeah, it's just like I don't know if there should be like a second award, like best player this year, and then also like most value. I
Right.
don't know
So
what it would
so
be.
that's the thing. I've talked about this. I don't know if you were on or if it was one of my solo episodes. Most valuable player doesn't really mean most valuable player. Because if we're being completely honest, the player that is
Yeah,
most valuable to his team right now is Steph Curry because that team would have 14 wins without him. So it really does mean best player statistically, kind of. You kind of just have to admit that as an NBA fan. So I think it's
yeah,
Jokic right now, and it would be Embiid if he didn't miss the games. But I mean, I don't know. It's so hard, but yeah, that's also a conversation for another day. Um, Back to Steph
yeah,
though. I wanted to talk about where he sits all time because a lot of people are like, okay, he's doing this at this age. He's done it for a while. Where is he, as his career? I don't want to say winds down because he's obviously right now having one of the better seasons in his career, but he's 33. I think he's got what, 4 or 5 years. We'll see.
I think his game he could play until 40 if he
That
wants.
that's true. Yeah. So
He could
we'll
play later if he wanted to, but
yeah. But so I put up a poll on our Instagram page, by the way, at TWOS podcast, that said, is Steph Curry a top 10 player of all time? And I had the option of top 10 or nah. And it was like, I think I got like 20 votes and like 16 people said top 10. So that's a lot of people. I don't know if they were just like recency bias a little bit. That always plays a part in things. Um, but I think he's getting very close. Right now, I'd put him 12, 15 range ish, maybe 10,
yeah,
11. But I mean, I think when it's all said and done, he'll be top 10 because I still think he's got a lot left in the tank, and we're seeing that this year. He's already the second greatest point guard ever. I don't think he passes Magic unless he does something crazy, right? Um, but that's where he is for me. I'd say 11, 12, 13, 14 range.
Yeah, these whole ranking things are really hard because you say like, "Oh, is he top 10 all time?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, he's like that good." But then it's like, okay, so like
But
Shaq's
then,
not he's better than Shaq then, or he's
right,
better than Hakeem then.
once you list out all the guys that he has to
Yeah.
be better than, it's
It's like
like,
the
okay,
all-star thing where he's like, "Oh, he needs to be an all-star." Like, okay, what spot?
yeah, who you taking
Um,
out, right?
yeah, so this is really tough. I think I would put him in the 10 to 15 category too. Um, just because like top 10 legacy plays a huge part into it. And Steph's obviously got a great story and everything. He's the greatest shooter of all time. But like guys like Magic have like, oh, he won this finals MVP as a rookie. Oh, he did this.
Right.
Everybody has like that story. And Steph, I think, needs to add to his already. And I think he will, but he's 32 years old. Like, I would consider him still in his prime right now. I think it's the latter half of his prime, but
He's playing like it.
yeah, he's playing like an MVP.
Right.
So,
I
and I don't
think
think he's gonna just lose his ability to shoot. So I think he's gonna continue to be an insanely good player in this league for a long time. Um,
I
so I think
think
he'll build on that legacy, but I would think he's 10 to 15 still right now.
I feel like how many what is he, a three-time champ?
Yeah,
Yeah. So I don't know. I think the legacy is there. I think he just needs to get the numbers up because he's got I think the narrative greatest shooter of all time is enough to be top 10. Because if you're looking at all of NBA history, you're not going to have the greatest shooter of all time when his career's over somewhere near the top 10. So I feel like that's enough. And then you add on to it, he was the MVP of the team that has the most wins of all time. That's a legacy right there. And yeah, they lost in the finals. You can bring that up. I know you love to.
who'd they lose to again?
I
Who was
think it
that?
was some guy named like J.R. Smith or something. I forget.
Oh, okay, okay.
But I mean, and I honestly think that Kevin Durant might have hurt Steph Curry's legacy
Yeah,
because that team was so good without Kevin Durant.
he
Obviously,
hurt his own legacy too. I don't.
I mean, yeah, Kevin Durant hurt him. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
But having a 73 win team and it's like Steph Curry is the guy, and then to have a guy like Kevin Durant come in here, it invalidates some of Steph Curry's rings. So it's
yeah,
like I don't know. It's unfortunate for Steph, but just to go through some numbers, I know I said he needs to get the numbers up. He's like 75 around there all-time points, which you can say whatever you want about statistics that they're going to matter when people look at, top 10 players of all time. And obviously he's going to go up in that list as he plays, however many more seasons he does. Uh, but then you look at the 3-point numbers. He's second in 3-pointers made, sixth in 3-point percentage. He's the greatest free throw shooter of all time. That's pretty ridiculous. Um, and then career, he's a 43% career 3-point shooter. That's ridiculous. 47 from the field and a 90% free throw shooter. He's almost a career 40, 50, 90 guy.
50,
That's
40, 90.
50, 40, 90. Yeah, well, I mean, whatever. But that's I mean, like we said, greatest shooter ever. So
Yeah. I honestly, I think if he retired right now, he would be like considered 10, but people just want more from him.
no, yeah,
Can you hear me?
yeah. Can you hear me?
Oh, you did?
Okay, but yeah, I mean, there was
Okay.
some technical difficulty
Sorry about
there. Yeah. Did it?
Okay, well, like I was saying, I think if he retired what?
Go ahead.
Okay, if he retired right now, I think he would be considered top 10 all time, but it's because people want more from him and they know he's not finished yet that they're like, "Oh, well, I mean, like he's going to get there." But
Right.
the legacy he already has is there. but people just want more because we know how good he is. And I feel like he's missing that moment because, like, 2015, he beat the Cavs, who didn't have their second and third best player. And then in 2017, 2018, he beat the Cavs twice, who Kevin Durant was the best player on his team those 2 years, or in the finals in those 2 years. And then, like, he doesn't have that finals MVP. People are always going to say that. And I think he 100% deserved it in 2015.
Oh, yeah.
Iguodala held LeBron to like a
Iguodala
35-point triple-double. Like, congratulations.
Right. Iguodala played defense a couple of times. Like, that's not the finals MVP.
Like, congrats. You shut down the best player when he still averaged 35 points and his second best player was Timothy Mozgov. But I think the point is, like, Steph is going to be there. It's just he's 32 years old right now.
Right.
So, like, I mean, I don't feel bad for Steph because, like, he's gonna get there. I don't care if I'm ranking him as 12 right now because he's not done yet. But also this season, I think it's showed people again, like last year, they're like, oh, Dame is playing fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, he's shooting like 35 footers and making them. I think that argument is like, okay, yeah, now we've come to reality. We know Steph is better than Dame. I really like Dame, but he's not Stephen Curry.
Yeah, absolutely. And it goes to what you said, you know, people's all-time rankings shoot up when they retire.
Yeah.
We're going to see it in the next few years with Melo. We're going to see it with, I don't know. I mean, LeBron is already as high as you can really go. So that's not really, but like Chris Paul, I think once he retires, it's going to be more of a conversation of, is he, you know, higher? But right now, Steph Curry, like, I think we both agree, obviously 10 to 15 range right now. End of career, which is, you know, in the 5-year range. Future, we'll see. I think he'll be a top 10 player of all time. Yeah, that's what we got on Steph Curry. Hope he continue. I'm a Steph Curry fan. It was like the Warriors were hated on for a really long time, but a lot of it wasn't really Steph. It was mostly Kevin Durant, obviously. But I don't know. I've always just he's obviously always. I'll just throw this in there also. Part of his legacy is that he's changed the game of basketball forever.
Yeah.
And so you got to take that into account when you think of his impact and his, you know, all-time status.
In 2015, Chuck and Shaq were saying jump shooting teams can't win the finals. So in what, 6 years?
Now you can't not be a jump shooting team and win the finals.
Crazy.
Yeah. Okay. That's what we got on Steph. Now the last little segment in this podcast, we're going to go over to the MLB and talk about Dodgers, Padres. Pretty good. We got all three sports into this episode. We haven't talked about football in a while just because, you know, off season, it's been a little bit of a lull. But moving on to the MLB, Dodgers, Padres. Quick disclaimer, I'm a Dodgers fan. But I think everyone can agree that this is by far the most exciting matchup in baseball this year. Rivalry matchup. I know a lot of people aren't calling it a rivalry yet just because there's no history behind it. But I mean, based on the past week and, you know, leading up to it and last year's NLDS, it's pretty damn close to becoming a rivalry. So yeah, just right now, the Dodgers are 14-5 and the Padres are 11-10. And on the season series, they're 2-2. So even, and dude, these games that they've played against each other they've played 4 games against each other, and there's a legitimate argument that they're the 4 best games of the MLB season so far.
Yeah, they've been so fun. And I mean, this rivalry from even like an outside perspective, I'm an Indians fan. I'm far from a Padres or Dodgers fan. It's just like, it's so fun because yes, the MLB is like, oh, this is a new rivalry, guys, watch it. But like all the fans are like, I mean, okay, it's fun.
Yeah.
And they're both like, I don't know, they're just constructed so well. And the Padres are up and coming. They're not like there yet, I don't think, but they got so much talent. And then
Yeah.
obviously we know how good the Dodgers are. Like nobody needs to explain that. They just won the World Series and they're the best team in the league again this year. But I really love that the Padres are giving them a fight. Like even last night's game, I don't know.
Mhm.
I, I don't even know how to explain it. The guy hit like a line drive, one hopper to the second baseman, and they turned a double play. And if they didn't, then it would have been a tied game. And then they won from that. So it was that close. Like these are really exciting games.
Yeah. And I mean, don't get me like these are two phenomenal teams. And stop me if I'm being too biased. Padres are a great team. They're going to make the playoffs this year. But the Dodgers are on another level in terms of skill and talent. And it's great to see that, even if that's the case, teams like the Padres give them a run for their money. And, you know, and that's part of a rivalry is no matter how good like the team is, they're going to have a great game together. That's what it was for the Dodgers and Giants this past however many years. Like even the past 2 or 3 seasons when the Giants weren't good, the Dodgers Giants season series always ended up around 500 for whatever reason. But I think, you know, and hey, just don't disrespect the Giants. They're good this year for some reason. Um, but I mean, dude, Dodgers Padres is turning in. I mean, they've got every element of a rivalry you can ask for. They're for a lot of people the two best teams in the league. Um, I mean, the two best pitching staffs in the league. I think that's pretty unanimous. The Dodgers have the best lineup in the league in terms of bats. I think the Padres are close there. I don't really, off the top of my head, the Yankees are the other team, but they haven't been good this year. For
I don't know why.
for whatever reason. But and then there's like the fiery aspect to it. There's the benches have cleared twice already in the
Yeah.
rivalry, and that's what you love to see. It's just
Yeah.
great for
I
baseball.
I love that part too because it's like everybody's tuning in, sort of hoping that it's like, oh, is he gonna do something where it's the benches are gonna clear here? Like, I don't want this guy to get thrown at, but like, also if he throws it behind him, can we watch that? Um, so yeah, it's really fun, and like, I I know you're a Dodgers fan, and I guarantee you think they're gonna win the World Series. I know we both predicted it, but
Mhm.
like, I think every Dodgers fan would be lying a little bit if they said they just completely disregarding the Padres as like not even a threat in the slightest. So I think even the fact that they are a good team that can at all compete with the Dodgers, not on the same level, but at least give them a run for their money, is very exciting because this is the Dodgers team is probably the best team I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
they're number one in offense, probably number one pitching staff,
Mhm.
number one or two. I would say number one.
Yeah.
Like they're ridiculous and they have injuries and they're still playing super well.
Yeah.
And also, I just want to point out like Fernando Tatis, like he's been really bad, but the Padres are still playing really well against the Dodgers. I know that they don't have the best record, but like that's I would consider their best player.
And
And
oh, absolutely. Neither team is playing at their highest level right now,
yeah,
and it's still the most like it seems like the highest level of baseball possible.
yeah,
It's phenomenal, and I just am hoping and praying, and I think every baseball fan that's ever been a baseball fan is just hoping that these two teams meet for a 7 game series in like the NLCS because I think that would be so amazing.
yeah.
Like
I'm hoping it's not another sweep because
I don't
that
think
was
it'd be
not
a sweep because it's a different last year. I mean, they didn't have Snell or Darvish, and
yeah,
those are obviously, you know, and the Padres being a young team, they're going to get better unless Tatis has fallen off a cliff this year. That's safe to say. I think he'll probably, hopefully, rebound. I mean, I hope
yeah,
so. I think he's a good, exciting player, and I want to see him succeed as much as he's on the Padres. He'll do bad against the Dodgers. I'm fine with that. But like, you want to see a guy like that succeed, the face of baseball, in my opinion. Um, but in a 7 game series, I think it goes seven. I think the Dodgers win it, but I think it's would be one of the most entertaining 7 game series we could get in baseball.
yeah. I mean, I would love that. I don't want to compare it to the Lakers Clippers because I think it is very different. But
Mhm.
like it's a matchup that every single fan wants to see, just because like the storylines are there. Like we just want to see this happen because last year, yes, we got it, but like it was not satisfying at all.
No.
It was like, oh, well, the MLB was pushing like, oh, this is such an exciting series, and then like the Dodgers won, and then the Dodgers won, and then the Dodgers won, and you're just like, ah, that's kind of lame, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm really, really hoping for it.
And I think it's not an X factor, but what makes this series so good is the fact that all these guys are kind of new to the rivalry. You know, like Trevor Bauer, Blake Snell, Yu Darvish, even guys like Tatis. The Dodgers have rookies, Gavin Lux, Dustin May. They're kind of like they're new, and it's like kind of this energetic group of guys who, if you had like a team full of veterans, they'd all be like, oh, it's another game, which we've seen. Like Justin Turner has said stuff like that. I think, the Padres really don't have that many solidified, but I guess like Eric Hosmer has said like, oh yeah, like it's a normal series. But then you've got the guys like Trevor Bauer, Tatis that are like, we are pumped up for this. Like, and it's just phenomenal for the game of baseball. I don't think we've had a matchup this exciting since like Red Sox Yankees.
Yeah. Just imagine the Trevor Bauer vlogs if this series happens. That would be so amazing.
If this like NLCS happens,
Yeah.
dude, he's already got, it's not beef with Manny Machado, but
It's
my
funny.
that's one of my favorite parts of the rivalry is Manny Machado, because he absolutely owns the Dodgers. Like he hits so well against the Dodgers, but that doesn't stop Dodger fans from chanting Manny sucks whenever he steps up to the plate.
And you know it, he like gets so mad from it too.
Oh, he does totally. And also he's kind of earned that with how he was.
Ooh.
I was excited when he came to the Dodgers, then he didn't want to run out balls to first base.
And
Angry
then, Dodgers fan.
Absolutely. And then last year he did his little, you're not allowed to celebrate, only us. It's like, bro, chill.
Yeah, I'm just so excited. Also, it's just like all the personalities. I know you just said it, but like Fernando Tatis is someone who's gonna bat flip and then like yell at the pitcher. Trevor Bauer is obviously someone who's gonna do the same thing on the other end. Manny Machado, Trevor Bauer is trying to make a funny little rivalry with Manny Machado because he always destroys Trevor Bauer, and it's just so fun. I just love watching it.
Yeah, it's great. And hey, Betts has 11 more years on his deal, and Tatis has 10 more. So this rivalry is going to last at least that long.
Ridiculous.
Because I don't see a team with Mookie Betts not being competitive, and I don't see a team with Fernando Tatis not being competitive, or at least being competitive in games. So that's just phenomenal.
Also, how are the Dodgers 14-5 and have injuries? Like, how ridiculous is that team?
Dude, okay. So here the Dodgers. They are they're hitting, it's either 100, like batting average, they're either hitting 100 or lower in their last like 7 games. And they're like, and I think they're 5-2 in those 7 games. The pitching staff has had a sub-1 ERA.
Oh my god. That is ridiculous.
With Bellinger, Lux, they've got Joe Kelly, Brusdar Graterol. All those guys are hurt, and those are 2 relievers and 2 starting bats. So
yeah. This is where I get a little bit torn as an Indians fan, because it's like the Dodgers and Padres are like bigger markets. So like they get to keep their players and stuff. And that's how we can get these amazing teams and amazing rivalries. But like as an Indians fan, it's frustrating that like it's hard to pay these guys. But also these type of series like make me understand how this is still like going on. Like this is how the MLB works, because I mean, people want to see the Dodgers be a lot better than the Indians. So, so I get it.
It's business.
Yeah.
And also, there was a graphic shown before the first Dodgers-Padres matchup, and the narrative has always been Dodgers buy their team, so they meaning they go out and get whatever players they want. The Dodgers team is like 55 to 60% homegrown. So you think Seager, Bellinger, Bueller, Kershaw, Will Smith, Gavin Lux. And I mean, they just splurged the past 2 years on, Betson, but Bauer. And the Padres are like 20% homegrown. So you think, Hosmer, Myers, Bauer, or not, what am I doing? Snell, Darvish, Machado. Like, it's kind of crazy how the two teams have been constructed. Obviously, the Padres have homegrown talent too, but they've used it's not all just, oh, I'm gonna go out and get this guy. They've both teams have done such a great job developing young guys and then just going out and grabbing the pieces that they need. It's been fun, the development to watch.
Yeah. It's nice when you can pay Manny Machado for a year and then pay Mookie Betts the next year and then get Trevor Bauer the next year. But
very nice.
But yeah. They've done the farm system for the Dodgers is I think kind of underrated too. It's
and dude, even their coaching development at the major league level. Because if you think Justin Turner was a bad role player when he came to the Dodgers, Max Muncy was a bad role player when he came to the Dodgers, Chris Taylor wasn't very good, and they just work with these guys. I don't know what they do. I'm not I'm not that into looking at what other coaches do with their mechanics, but they've turned those guys' careers around. So
everything about the Dodgers is elite. Every single part of that organization right now.
Yeah. But point of this, Dodgers Padres is the most fun, most electric, whatever you want to call it, rivalry matchup. I don't care. When these two teams face off, you got to watch it. They're arguably the two best teams in the league. And that they do their thing against each other. Also, Rob Manfred, stop blackouts.
Please. I'm gonna find another way. I'm just letting you know.
And you may not like it.
You may not get money from it.
That's all we got for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening, for watching, whatever you're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Like, comment, subscribe, give us a rating. We talked about the NFL draft. I broke down my mock draft, only 10 picks. We talked about where Steph Curry, lands all time in terms of his ranking and just this season that he's had, which has been ridiculous. And then we ended off talking about probably the best rivalry in baseball right now, and that is Dodgers Padres. But yeah, if you made it this far, go comment somewhere, wherever you want. What should they comment, Logan?
I love Dodgers Padres rivalry.
That's a great one. Very unique. But yeah, thank you all for listening. And as always, and for my co-host Logan Ring, my name is Diego Sandoval. Signing off.